That didn't show on Jesselale Sodimati and Chuchi or Dishe, and that Geshe Thubten Rabten and Papa changes sit down, rank lama or yemedo, and Meba Dayu Dinia, Yemeba Delaya, and Karsore, and Tugi Yunde, because Kimbe Yunde, Zeu Yunde, and Nube Yunde, and Chili Yunde, and Denigi Yunde Jesu, Jambi Tone, and Rangel Lama, the Papa Genesis or Yermelea, Gosum Gubicone, and the Gyalse Varese, and the Zangpo in Rangel Lama, the Papa Genesis or Yemedo Dache, and Delia Lamiki, Gusum Tusumki, Yunde Jayada, Della Devakia, Devachaya. And then the Devachan Zuke, Gulima Yusumyokone, and Gyalse and Chevola Soba to Chegores and also in a Dusniam and Chegores, or did Shogan of the Tico Sherwad.
This morning we started to look at the text 37 Practices of Bodhisattvas composed by Thogme Zangpo. We saw in the homage that he paid to his lama, who's indivisible in nature from Arya Chenrezig, that he praised the qualities, we offered homage or praise to the qualities of Arya Chenrezig, the qualities of his omniscient wisdom, and then secondly, love and compassion, thirdly, skillful means, and fourthly, enlightened activities. And seeing that Chenrezig has these qualities and also that one's lama is indivisible in nature from Chenrezig, here a praise is offered also in a similar way to one's teachers, spiritual teachers. And moreover, this can be also done through reflecting on the qualities of one's spiritual teachers, a physical body, his speech, and his mind. And with this having been generated in one's mind, then one, under the influence of this faith of conviction that has arisen, one offers prostration and offerings.
Oh yeah, that ma shuedi, and the Geshe Thubten Rabten, and the Karatamjas Gorsene, and the Jerusalem begin, and then Yamlen Jagi, Rimbati, and the 6 years from Josodi, Nalma, and the Tordush and the Sik Tordu Bajan and Ma, Sungis and the Koronga Tamjaru, Naire, or Digor Mashuere.
Now we'll continue with the text with looking at the next verse, which is a promise made by Thogme Zangpo. And what is the promise that he has made? Is he has promised to compose a text that in brief outlines the stages of practices of Bodhisattvas.
Damchu Juble Junde Dianis, Di Lale, Shela Ralepe, Yasenamke, Lale Shebrajas.
Perfect Buddhas, source of all happiness and well-being, arise from accomplishing the sublime Dharma, which in turn depends on knowing how to practice it. Thus I will explain the practices of Bodhisattvas.
Tapende Junius, Zobe Sange Nam Sidida. Pende Junius, Pembadan Devasore, Pembadan Devasedi, Anzuki, Setigi, and Diki, and Javachima, and also Setigi, and Milugi, Den Zangpo Tobadan, Den Delia, and Garsore, Digi, Juniadi, and Digi, and this Nerapki Digi, and then Javachima, Tada Miko Tobiadan. Dindera, Tadamiko, Dindela, and then Anzuki, Louis Dewatan, Sim Gibi, Dikinia, Nyamsunoya, Diki, the Nerapki Dikis, Chesa, Pandi, said Delia, and then Nerapki Diki, that Tartu Diki said in Yungor, that they shared Nerapki Dikis.
In the first line, the term that we have here is happiness and well-being. This can be understood in terms of both temporary happiness as well as ultimate happiness. So one can think of temporary happiness, happiness and joy, or happiness and well-being, happiness and comfort. So this would refer to achieving happiness both in this life as well as achieving happiness in future lives, such as the attainment of a rebirth in the happy migrations as a human or as a god. And moreover, in dependence on having achieved a happy migration as a rebirth as a human or god, experiencing further happiness and joy in future rebirths. So this is how to understand temporary happiness.
안 타르두기 세야델이야 안 타르바다 탐지기며 고봐 지상 타르바세네 레 뇨모 레다 뇨모 뭐 베네 원규주 코와 딜레 저제 코와레 타르제 레나 뇨모바 사보나 제바 뻥베 뻥바 타르비고 황 토야다 토바이나 다 띵기 대와 저데네 동안여야 말에 아니 안 디마세 안 셈제 탐지게 된다래야 하는 가서 대시 쇼가 셔바는 잠니시 자주 셈 파진 주인 냠는 제제 하는 가서 냠는 제바 냠는 제 자주 셈 비줘바 랍 냠는 제네 아니 랑기 랑류 대와다 샤샤레 판바주베 디기 중야 안 되네야 상지고 방토야디 지바 말 바차다 제바 빵티 군세 연대 군다 덴바디 상지고 방토여도 아니 다르게 디기 세야 최고래.
Ultimate happiness, this is to be understood as happiness that is unchanging. It's not temporary, it's rather stable and lasting. Ultimate happiness is what is the experience when liberation and enlightenment are achieved. To achieve ultimate happiness then, the practitioner comes to recognize that the cause that keeps us bound within the suffering realms of cyclic existence is the contaminated karma that has been accumulated in dependence on acting under the influence of one's own afflicted minds. And these afflicted minds come about in dependence on the root cause of ignorance. When one attains liberation, one completely severs these afflicted minds together with their seeds. Then one is liberated from cyclic existence because one is no longer creating the causes to remain bound within cyclic existence. One no longer is ripening previously accumulated non-virtue nor accumulating further contaminated karma. And thereby, liberation from cyclic existence is attained and one achieves ultimate happiness, a happiness which is stable and lasting. And if a practitioner has been striving under the influence not of the wish for their own mere happiness, but rather they have generated bodhicitta, striving to achieve Buddhahood in order to be of greatest benefit to others, then under the influence of bodhicitta, they have been engaging in the practices of the six perfections. So they don't only abandon the afflicted mind together with their seeds, they also go on to abandon even the slightest trace of the afflictions, the imprints, the stains of the afflictions, and thereby attain Buddhahood. And with the attainment of Buddhahood, the ultimate happiness of Buddhahood, a happiness which is stable and lasting. So this ultimate happiness, the term happiness can be here translated as bliss. So temporary happiness and ultimate bliss.
어디니게 판디 중에 팬바단 대화 되니게 대화 제대로 내가당 다르기 안 되기세 어디니게 중에 되니게 차상 되니게 가서 내가당 다르기 되기 용액이 조 중액이 시대 가wan 리고라서네 주변에 세대 저배 상계 거봐 상계 될래 리고래 상계라 되네 그래서 저기 나 탐지기며 고방 토야 전주심에 냠는 제바는 상계라 되네 아니 전주심베게 냠는 제네 아니 상계고바 토고래 타르바시 토베네 아니 상계라 된 거래 되네 저기 개와 치마 하다 미고바 토야다 된델에 디기 중요하시 디기네 차산에 자와 상계라 되는 중고래 제래 제사다 상계디 만족이 내가다 타도 차상기 디기 용약이 주위게 내디 중요하게 조어디다 상계래 조배 상계 남체 상계디기래 제래
That's the explanation then of happiness and well-being, and we understand this as meaning both temporal happiness as well as ultimate happiness. And how are these attained? Well, as it says here, still in the first line, the source of all temporary and ultimate happiness are the perfect Buddhas. And this is because it's independent on the enlightened activities of Buddhas that beings achieve states of temporary happiness, such as a rebirth in the happy migrations, or as a human or a god. Moreover, it's independent on perfect Buddhas that the paths to liberation are presented and practitioners are guided to achieve these within a continuum and achieve the ultimate happiness or bliss of liberation from samsara. And similarly, its independence on the skillful means of the perfect Buddhas, that the paths of Bodhisattvas are taught and beings are guided to cultivate these mental paths within themselves and achieve not only the grounds of the paths and grounds of Bodhisattvas, but Buddhahood itself and the ultimate bliss of enlightenment. So therefore, the source of all happiness and well-being is the perfect Buddhas.
다디네 나는 아주기 세디기 아주기 디기디게 상기엘에 되는 중국에서 간에서 중국어래디 세디기 아주 디기디 아주기 둘러야고 그야당 아주 칼라신보사 아주기 조고님도 안지게 거고체는 아주리 디기 용거마다 디 상기 스카이림도 와데 아주 칼레 캡체 아주 리디기 아주 되는 용거마다 상기엘에 되는 영사 말하는 세상 섬섬 용식으로 와
Hearing this, it's quite possible one may think, but I have some doubt, because in this life, I myself make great effort to ensure that I have a materially comfortable life, that I have sufficient, if not an abundance, to eat and possessions, as well as the friendships and good relations I have with others. This has come about through my endeavors, not through the endeavors of the Buddha. I myself have achieved this.
난 제del량 아주게 되니치네 아주 디기 용고르데 이내 자와디 안에 상길에 띵고레시레 디텐난 가르시라나 안다 아주게 지게 레가레 장아주레 지 디기 용아라 아주게 류딘 캬바제는 고도와 세상 아주 류딘 캬바제인데 다된 아주 미 류딘 캬바제는 디메나 아주라 다디디 내갑기 대화도 용아 메레 매반상 아주게 류딘 캬바제나 가르슬레바레라나 디규 gyudan kien me bale junyo mare chidan gyudan kien jele tene ki gores chidan gyudan kien de karela na ngazo ge danju milu rimbo che tobe gyudi surum soya deres chidan surum soya dire ta ngazo ge chedele ngazo longje dulo da kala simbo sa da ngazo longje da dene gi ane chige yoya gyudi karesen jimbe nyamlen jimbe nyamlen chene jimbale tene yong gores chidan dene ge sudimi nyamle da jimbe nyamle na sobe nyamlen de ki me bala ngazo chedelya gewang ama ngazo dene ki nyamlen che mena chedelya digidi milurum che top tugo mare milurum che tom dendelya digi yo mares chidan dene zang sudim suya da jimbe nyamlen che da sudin nyamle che sobe nyamlen che badi 상여 점는 되게 마 송제 냠는 데는 세고고래 세는 송제 안 될라 때네 아 저기 지기진의 지 규제 라메지 라메 가서야 된 내가 저기 겨왕아 마디와 되게 안 수림다 수림 냠는 지야다 진배 냠는 지야다 쇠배 냠는 지야바 되는 중화에서 대라 때는 가서 체텔이야 가서 밀리를 못지 톱 되는 때들이야 가서 롱조되게 중 아는 가서 때들이야 가서 디기 요요 라와디 데니스레 데니 인상 안에 아주기 내갑기 대화된 상길에 띵고를 띵비 김자로 되네서 그럼
Whilst it certainly is the case that we can say the material comfort and the relations that I have, good relations I have with others, I myself have ensured that I form good friendships with others, and that I have bought these things through my hard work and effort. So we can say that, and there certainly is validity in that. But we need to look a little bit deeper, because that kind of analysis is quite superficial. So for us to be able to gain the education that we have and thereby the work that we have, as well as to have the inner quality so that we have good relations with others, this has all come about independent on effort we have made within this rebirth, this life as a human being. So how did we come to achieve this rebirth as a human being? Well, that came about in dependence on causes that we accumulated in our previous lives. And the primary cause that leads to rebirth as a human being is to develop a mind of restraint, to be ethical, to engage in ethical conduct, to be an ethical person. And it's a practice of ethics that is the primary cause that leads to a rebirth as a human being. Moreover, to whatever degree that we are experiencing a material comfort in this life and material success in our endeavors, this too doesn't come about causally, but has come about in dependence on causes that we accumulated in our past lives. And these causes are primarily the practice of generosity. So through cultivating a generous outlook, we accumulated the causes that we are now, whose results we are now in this life experiencing. And likewise, through the practice of patience in our previous lifetimes, we are experiencing the result of that in terms of the close friendships that we are able to have with others and how easily we get on with others. So therefore, what we are experiencing in this life, we have certainly created conditions for the ripening of these results, but these results' root causes came about in our past lives. And how did we go about engaging, developing an ethical outlook, a generous outlook, a patient outlook? This came about through being guided by others in terms of what minds to cultivate within ourselves, what outlook to cultivate, and what way of thinking to abandon. In other words, what to adopt and what to abandon. And this would have come about in dependence on being guided by spiritual teachers in whatever form they may have taken in these previous lives. And they would have, and those spiritual teachers would have been, the Buddhas would have been guiding us indirectly through those spiritual teachers. And in that way, we accumulated the causes that we are now experiencing the ripening results of. So in this way we can see that the Buddhas have guided us in that all temporary happiness too has come about in dependence on the Buddhas.
다디네 이제 세대 디기당 먼저 개왕함하게 수침소야 돼 진바도 수비 냠는 진은 중아래 개와 치마에 디기 라나미오 고반 디기 줘야 돼 세대를 향해서 류가 있으면 예저도 수침소야당 안에 진비 냠는 제야 수비 냠는 제반에 개와 치마 디기 용거 대신 냠는 제야 되게 상기 최는 마 송장하서 될래야 냠는 진은 토고고로와 디네 이제 상기를 땜바래서 김전 디시로와 나 나는 탈비 고방 토야 돼. 나 상기를 땜바래. 그래서는 상기기 상을 저기 동화 땜바서 못 줘지. 동화 땜이 교세도 군조 땜바서 되래서는 안 군조 땜바 뭐 규텔했는 용거 군조 땜바 못 줘지. 그래서 군조 땜바 빠야나 안 빵바 있나 안 탈바 곡된 세죠. 그래서 곡된데 안 곡된 못 줘지. 그래서 니 토야라 가서 람곰발레 람데 곰는 냠내지는 도구를 해서는 상기에 대신내로 송제 만족이 내내 대신내로 송바텔라 저기 퇴섬 꼼숨제대 냠내 제바이나 탈바고 뭐 톱투고 그래. 제가 탈바고 뭐 톱관 차사 톱간 다 자좀 차사 안 상기 송제비 템버시 냠소 렌제 안 탈바고 뭐 톱도요 봐. 되는 인사 탈바고 뭐 토야 돼. 상기를 땜바래서.
In this way then we can understand how the Buddhas have guided us in our past lives to accumulate the causes whose results we are now experiencing in this life. And we can see in this life how we've been guided by the Buddhas through our spiritual teachers to develop these imprints that we have for an ethical outlook, a generous attitude, and a patient predisposition, to develop these further in this very life, and thereby we can be certain that these causes we are creating now, we will experience those ripening results in our future lives. In this way we can come to gain some certainty of how it's through the kindness and the skill of the perfect Buddhas that we are experiencing all the temporary happiness that we are experiencing. And furthermore, when we think about the attainment of ultimate happiness, the happiness or the bliss that is stable and lasting and unchanging, This comes about clearly independent through the Buddhist teachings. For example, we first have to come to understand the suffering nature of cyclic existence, come to understand how it pervades our experiences and how it pervades the experience of all beings, wherever they are in cyclic existence. Moreover, we need to come to understand the causes, the origins of that suffering, and see what the root cause is and this continuity of activity that leads to further suffering being experienced. In other words, we need to understand the truth of suffering and the truth of origin, and understand that these truths can be brought to an end. Cessation is possible, the state of liberation. And in this way, come to understand the truth of cessation. And how does one achieve true cessations? That is through the cultivation of the true paths, developing the mental paths as presented by the Buddha. So in this way, we come to see that ultimate happiness, this comes about in dependence on the teachings of the Buddha.
Ninja come Jamba Komaya, Ninja come Penner Marshi, Tinden, Jiso, you want Chamba to come Gures, then Jamba come Gure, then Ninja Chambo come Gures, and then they are Jashu Semki, Semki Chagores. Then some general passion to lay a love Gures, the dos Yamlenje, Yamlenji Bachasan, Sanji Sumrova, Chisa Sanji Sumbala, Della Dene, Marazuki, Delia. Sanju Sumba Nashin, Jelia, lojong, Yamlen, then Jashu Semba Horons, Jashu Semba Horons, Jasembati, Denigi, Yamlen Nare, Denigi Yamlen Nan, Sanju Kova top the Mambo Sanju Kova top Sarva, and that is Jashu Semba Yamlen Nashin Batiki, Dinero, Chisa Diniza. The Mawbanang of the Jansu being around in there, Deniki Yamlen Chetiki, Sanji, Sun Shabu, Sumba, Della Dene, and around to Laming around to Liang Motriche, Lopton Chen, and around to Yamlen Chepala Dine, and Jenna Jansu Simbo go on Toya, the dinner Sanju go on Toya, Chagore, Dininza, and around to get Negaptang, Negapki Pandia, Tarduk Tarbadang, Tamji Kemba Sanjo go on Toya, Yamlin Rimba Chaza, and so Sanjile Dembare, Chesa Sanjile Dine Yungur, Chesa Sanje said, Yunden Negaptan Tardu Chazangi, Yunden Tamji, Juyaki, Nedi, Zod, Zawadi, Sanji Sanjo go on Resha, Sewarta.
And furthermore, the attainment of the mental paths of a bodhisattva and the cultivation of these paths and the grounds as well that lead to the eventual attainment of the state of perfection, the omniscient state of Buddhahood. This all comes about in dependence on the guidance and the guidance and the kindness of the Buddhas. So, for example, the cultivation of the 6 causes that lead to the one result, namely bodhicitta, which are seeing all beings as being our mothers, reflecting on their tremendous kindness, giving rise to the wish to repay that kindness, and developing that into the minds of love and compassion, and developing those through the strength where one generates the altruistic attitude of universal responsibility, and thereby commits to striving to become a Buddha for the sake of mother sentient beings. The generation of bodhicitta itself and the attainment of the paths of bodhisattvas, this has come about in dependence on the teachings of the Buddha Dharma by Buddha Shakyamuni, as have all the variety of practices of bodhisattvas, such as are presented in our text here, have come about in dependence on the teachings of Buddha Shakyamuni, as well as all the other Buddhas too. And moreover, the guidance that we have achieved in past and this life too, guidance of our spiritual teachers, this is how the Buddhas are able to directly interact with us. So seeing that the ultimate happiness that we are on track to achieve, as well as the temporary happiness we are experiencing and will still experience, all of this, all the various stages of both temporary happiness and ultimate bliss, these come about in dependence on the perfect Buddhas.
gyön chasa, bangsar yunden chasa, ane gyulaya ye chage, ye chaware. Dine za sangye sayadi, chizan kam semjen ye kamdang mweba jidawa, shindu hien je semjen liya kamdang mweba do tunbiki chue dien nyamlen je ju je, ane de liya, an semjen tamche le digi zhubya liya, an jik penpa zhugu wada. Chizan sangye sayadi, ben masige za chenpo shudang, jik ngana zu semjen tamche le pando chenpo digi tamche ki junze zawa dire sha. Chizan nyu, dendigi sangye gopandi, ngana zu lo top kukure, sangye de ben masiki za chenpo shu jire sha, senpeki dus je ngana zu samdang kure chirewa.
Reflecting then on this, it becomes very clear to us that the perfect Buddhas are incomparable in the kindness that they have and continue to show us. These beings who have completely eradicated even the slightest trace of the mildest of faults and have developed all good qualities to the state of perfection. These beings, these perfect beings, they lead us ordinary confused beings precisely in accordance with our own individual predispositions and inclinations. And they guide us through their skillful means by way of spiritual teachers to achieve both temporary happiness and ultimate bliss. Reflecting in this way, it becomes evident just how incomparably kind the Buddhas are to us.
Denige da za chimo bechu chimbo denige sangye sayadi da gan suyong gore la ne denige duye di sangye raya di anzo sangye chaya di anzo gi nye je sangye chaya yo mares dangu je je sangye chaya tu yo mares dene zan zuri duen je tu ya mar jinga zu ge ji ge pa gu ma je yo mar da ji de sangye chaya de gan cha gore labna 담비 취 냠는 제고레스 다 냠마 상지기 손셰 상지기 만조 롬 람든 냠는 데데 제고레스 상지 손셰 비데 담비 취 된 아주 냠는 제고레스 제사 담비 취 냠는 제발라 때네 아니 상지 중고레 제레 벤 직제레라 담취 두블레 중데 대양니 세데 제사 상지 고번 토야디 담비 취 아니 냠는 제네 지자 덴비치에서 대양 하는 아주기 잠니제 자주샘 동요도베 셔 파신 주기 냠을라서 디수 냠는 제발에 때네 상계의 중국어를 마도 아니 아주 디수 소소라랑기 디냠는 마체바지 아니 아주기 샹다 상주고 투야요 말스 마체바이나 제자 담치 상계 중요하디 담비치 타바침비게 아니 죄 냠는 제발에 때네 중국어에 그러다.
Reflecting on this first line, we'll see just how kind the Buddhas are to us and how beneficial they are in our lives. Taking this inspiration, wanting to become just like them, how does one do so? The state of Buddhahood, the state of ultimate happiness, it cannot be bought from anywhere. It cannot be deceptively stolen or taken with force in any way. The only way that one can achieve ultimate happiness, the states of Buddhahood and liberation, come about, as we see in the second line, arising from accomplishing the sublime Dharma. So it's only through hearing the sacred Dharma and putting this into practice, cultivating in our continuum, that we can achieve freedom, that we can achieve peace.
아나 데니게 담비 취 냠len 제발에 데네 안에 상요 고방 토고고래 제려 안 대야니 세 대야니 디 라레 셰라 라레베 시도 제사다 상요 고방 토라 담비 취 냠len 제발이나 토고고나 안 담비 취 디야 냠len 제탕디 가르가르 냠len 제고고래 당보 가는 치고 니바 가르제고래 방차라 방야라 가르고 년보 가르고 람 냠는 제하디파 림버디게 차상 신고고래 제다 담보 디시고래 디 냠는 제고래 디방고래 세비 냠는 제다 림버디 신고고래 림버디 신년 하고 살바 점이 디가 하고 소소 라란 따고래 라란 따고래 디 냠는 제고래 제자 디네자 디 냠는 제바 있나 냠는 지게 림버디 차상 하고 와제 하고네 안네 저기 취준의 냠는 제바 있나 안 상주고 톱투고 그래. 제산 되네기 냠는 제발라 라 레버레스디 냠는 지기 있나 냠랭기 림바디기 신제 냠랭 제바인 지기나 산유고바 토부투그레스 냠랭기 림바 마싱바이나 냠랭 제투야 말에 산유고바 토투 말에 냠랭기 림바디 신바인하야 아니 림바 가나가 지기 신바이나 라란 마다바이나 냠랭 마제바이나 산유고바 토투고 말에 제자 냠랭 제 라랭기 냠랭 지기 림바디기 파 신바치네데 라란 때를 무슨 냠랭 제라 라리고 디 냠랭 제바이나 산유고바 토투고 해제래
The first line then serves for us to generate a great appreciation for the perfect Buddhas. Wanting to become like them, we see in the second line here that one has to receive teachings on the sublime Dharma. And the third line shows that this knowledge that needs to be attained shouldn't be left at a mere intellectual level, but we ourselves have to transform it or develop it so that it becomes experiential within us, that we come to gain a flavor of the Dharma and develop that so that it pervades our way of thinking. And it's in this way that we will achieve a state of lasting happiness. So here what is being presented is that one needs to come to understand what is meant by the Buddha Dharma, what needs to be adopted, the ways of thinking, the minds that need to be developed, and how to do so. And not just on a superficial level, but the various subtle stages that one will later come to understand better. Similarly, one needs to understand what ways of thinking are harmful, and also how to abandon them, how to break these negative habitual patterns, these negative habitual ways of thinking that we have. We need to recognize what these are and become skilled in how to abandon them, and not just the coarser levels, but the underlying subtler levels. And in terms of gaining experience, of being able to practice this knowledge, the broader and deeper our knowledge is, if we take this knowledge as we are cultivating it, and we reflect on it, meditate on it, then the broader and deeper that our knowledge is, so too will the depth of our realization, the strength of our mental transformation, the speed of our mental transformation will all come about. There is this relationship. So therefore, we need to hear the sublime Dharma, and we need to know how to practice it. We need to not only have knowledge, but we need to cultivate it within ourselves, gain experience of it. The deeper our knowledge, the deeper our experience of the Dharma will be.
ane kiwi che shu ane yane yado shu ane diniki shu yongdu ala mege ya andi dire de che gore ma racho che yong ro che san theba che gore theba che ne thebi dön de la yane yando sam da ba ina ding an ju thebi dön de ya lo o di re sha sem be ge an zo lo ya ta se wo cha ko tu bo ro dene samba che ne ane samba di da re sha sem be sam jung ge she rap ke yong de dene de la mi be ge da an zo nyam len che la la da di an gom ja de gom di cha gore che sa dene za thö sam dang bo xin ya le ya thö ba che da thö ne dene dön de le ya ne sam da du shin ba de xin yong ro la le da da rin ba xin gore che da ram rin ba xin yong de dene gom ja nyam len che de rin ba la la ngo so da go ro o du xin ne je gu gore dene je ba yin da da sang yu go wang thö ya le top tu gore es yo.
The third line then explains, leads us to remind ourselves of what we need to do. The first thing we need to do is hear teachings, and hear a lot of teachings. Hear teachings on a wide variety of subjects, and hear teachings on those same subjects again and again. And whilst engaging in the cultivation of knowledge, the acquiring of knowledge, we also need to think about the meaning, contemplate or reflect on the meaning of what we are hearing. So we need to study and we need to reflect. both of these together repeatedly over a sustained period. And we do this so as to firstly gather knowledge, and secondly to gain great profundity in our understanding. And this comes about through gaining certainty. We need here, what we're doing is developing our intellectual understanding, but also overcoming any doubts or lack of clarity. And this is done both through continued hearing as well as reflecting on what we're hearing, because it's the reflecting, the analysis, that serves to overcome any lack of understanding. And in this way, we are starting to gain integration of what we are hearing and reflecting on within our everyday way of thinking. And as we develop ever greater knowledge and integration through hearing and reflecting, we will come to the point where we are ready to meditate on what we have heard and reflected. And through progressing in this sequence of hearing, reflecting and hearing, and reflecting ever more in greater detail, and eventually becoming ready through having overcome any doubt or lack of clarity, then when we're ready to meditate, through progressing in this sequence, Buddhahood itself will be achieved.
Gyalse namje lalin shebar cha sidu ta garasung gorasene jezan denegi ane janshu semba sangye kopang tobye ge tunda la janshu semba namje gyalse janshu semba namje nyamlen gane kale sangye kopang tobala nyamlen jebala ra le barwa nyamlen ra le bar jezan nyamlen jebala ra le ba inza ane gyalse janshu semba namje sangye kopang tobye chu gar nyamlen jigo hores ganis lalin dago hore ondi ba anchige Bendigo Rimbati ma Dorje ne ma zik nyunji na le ma ane shigin so sungorda Geshe namje lalen shebar cha so Geshe chanju semba namje sangyo ko ban thobe chirdu gar nyamlen chi ko gar lalen da go res ganis da go res da go re odi ma shigin so gorda Geshe namje lalen shebar cha.
The author of our text, knowing this, he here makes a promise that in order to aid beings so as to progress, to cultivate the paths of Bodhisattva within them and progress along the paths of Bodhisattvas to the attainment of Buddhahood itself, he will present here in brief the stages of practice that aspirant Bodhisattvas and Bodhisattvas themselves need to engage in order to newly acquire Bodhicitta, strengthen Bodhicitta further, and attain Buddhahood itself. So here in the fourth line, thus I will explain the practices of Bodhisattvas. He is making the commitment, the promise, to compose this text, outlining in a brief form the practices that beings need to engage in to become Buddhas.
Gyalse namje lalen shebar cha Gyalse chanju semba namje sangye ko ban thobe chu de nyamle lalen ta thang di ma kan ta di shigin ma she yan de shigin so khele so tamja chi ro di shu la khar so nge shigin kyang so ne ya bo chi nyan shu so ngor da.
Included within this verse, which is the promise to compose, is the instruction to the student. So it's not explicitly stated, but it's implied. Now that you understand the purpose of this text that I'm composing, listen well, listen attentively, and apply it to yourself. So that is the instruction here to us as students.
So tarpa the kewa chima kaso tarpa na sanji kupang tobar dube donirgi dumba yuna ane di ngedi shigi nyensho so just tarpa sanji kupang tobar dube donirgi dumba yedin kanso to sine nyensho ngedi ma ane sungin sigoro da.
And furthermore, that what's implied in this text is that you need to listen attentively, listen with an open and clear and attentive mind. But who should do the listening? This is not a teaching just for anyone. This is a teaching for specific people, for those who yearn for enlightenment, those who long to become a bodhisattva and continue to strive to become a Buddha for the sake of others. For those who have this aspiration to become a bodhisattva for the sake of others, This teaching is for you. So you listen well with a clear and open mind.
나 되네게 도시 손데 당은주야 다 상지 고방 토베게 된다라 냠렌지다 림바지 마 손야마 안 손야도 안델이야 데셀마 손나 숨스로 치고와 셈게 베나 상지 고방 토베를 규 자주 셈 냠렌 지고와 지상 자주 셈 냠렌 지와 자주 셈게 규 셈게 규 셈게 규세하다 다고 셈게 세야데 간치라그레세 셈게 데니치라그레세 셈게 원에 셰바티체 나 셈게네 전주심비 랍자 냠렌자데 가레스네 셈게기 랍자 셰바세지 안데니기 데센 숨시고라 사젤마스나 셈게기 유 셈게요 왜 셰바 셈게 호랑 셰바 데네 셈게기 랍지 냠렌제바 랍자 셰바 안두신 데센 사젤마스나 숨숨도와
From what's implied in that verse, it should be clear that this text, the 37 practices of Bodhisattvas, are for those who yearn for enlightenment for the sake of others. So therefore the text is divided into 3 parts. Firstly, it covers the first number of verses will cover the causes that need to be cultivated in order for bodhicitta to be generated. The second part is about what is bodhicitta and the cultivation of bodhicitta itself. And then the third part of the text are the trainings that bodhisattvas, those who have successfully cultivated bodhicitta, that they engage in, their trainings that they engage in. So these are the 3 sections of the text. The causes for bodhicitta, what bodhicitta is itself and its cultivation, and then thirdly, the trainings that a bodhisattva engages in.
나디네 다 셈게게 규데라 가르고그레 세데가서 셈게게게 셈게게 돈달라 셈게 규냠는 지고고로와 디셰바데라 다 가르고그레세네 델야 당보 냠술레게 띠야고 싶고그레 세지 근데 띠엔가네 싶고선 단주기 류딘 사지 고그레 세지는 단주기 류딘 디마시야데 다띠 류진 톱나야 유응한 바마 본바나 냠네 자주 셈베 냠네 야고 용도 유응한 본고레 세지 유응한 본화세 지시고 유응한 본화세 근데 다 유응한 본화네 네 임바 마텐 바이나 양 두싱이 네라 막보마 되어바이나 아디야 안에 가서 냠네 지야라 바시고 지사 네 임바 땡고레세 대선직시 다데네 미타바 땡고레세 미타바레 삼다 미타바 땡고레세네 다데네 야 안에 지 조항은 바 본고레세 다데네 야 냠는 지에게 기위신인 한 야고 땡고레세 는 잠주게 잡수도와 잠르지 고레세 대신 뉴인교도네 안데 마시야 고주고래 자주셈 셈기기 게 규del야 되니게 시에게 대살마서는 뉴인체체 마숨고래
The first outline then. This has the first outline, which are the causes that need to be cultivated for the generation of bodhicitta. These encompass 7 practices. So of the practices of bodhisattvas, 7 are included within the causes that give rise to bodhicitta. So the first then is, in order to cultivate bodhicitta, one needs to have a suitable basis in which to engage in the cultivation of bodhicitta. So this is a presentation then on the freedoms and opportunities. Secondly then is a presentation on abandoning one's home. Thirdly is it's not enough just to abandon one's home or the attachments to this one life, but one needs to rely upon solitude. So that's the third cause, which is relying upon solitude. Fourthly then is the presentation on impermanence or mindfulness of impermanence. And fifthly is turning away from unwholesome friends. Sixthly is relying upon wholesome friends, in particular our spiritual teachers. So the fifth was renouncing or turning away or avoiding unwholesome friends. Sixth was relying upon wholesome friends, in particular our spiritual teachers. And then seventh is refuge in the 3 jewels. So these are the 7 practices which are the causes for bodhicitta.
나 당보 띠 저게 전주 샘게 유 냠는 제에 가르치는 아주 뒤로 와변에 마시 진진 진소 안에 이원 잠바 가서 마시 진진 진소체 되네 잠바 고미야다 되네 안에 니지 고미야 되네 안에 laksanamda seri kumya digi ane janshu simgi gyuche korwa chisa nangbo tangyum kumya tene marshe simjan tamcharangi maje nyungwa marshe chanya tene drinche boyi ma samda daya tene ane kaze ta ngi nga rangla drinche ma za rangi pa ane pemba dhubi drinlen jor pemba dhubi simbi drin chanya ane simjan jo dewa de dena simbi jamba kumya simjan dunga da chawa shuwa nibi nije kumya ta simjan jo dewa de denpa da dunga da chawa de ngi chigi yin sina laksa namda kiye di nga zo janshu sim kiye ki gyudi dire da di dhugu kores jezan di dhugu kores di dhuya la ane gargo sini ten kheba chanchik ten dhunga to ten yawo dhusegi ten yawo shi mena di dhubtugu ma res jezan da ten kheba chan gara sini danjo gu lu ten tela ya dhugu kores tata nga zo ge danjo gu lu di ten la ane gyudi nyam janshu sim kiye gyudi nyam che kores urwa da jezan danjo gu ten la ane janshu sim kiye gyu da zo le kapsure gyunje menga chuk sia da ane den da shen nyamshi ko ne jashu sem kya da gyudi ke on di den ya ko mo re se di chu ko re so da di ma she re da
As you will have heard many times, the explicit causes that lead to the generation of bodhicitta are twofold. Firstly, it's the causes cultivated through training in the 6 causes that lead to the one result of bodhicitta itself. So this is then, of these 6, the first is reflecting on the intimate relationship that we have with each and every sentient being. And this is presented in the recognition of the relationship of mother and child, or parent and child, that we have with all sentient beings. Then in dependence on the cultivation of this first cause, of seeing this close and warm and intimate relationship that we have with all beings, we reflect on the tremendous kindness, therefore, that all beings have shown us. And this is the second cause. Then when we have come to see not only that we have a close and intimate relationship with all beings, and that they have shown us such remarkable kindness in many ways from lifetime to lifetime, then naturally in dependence on the cultivation of these 2 causes, the third cause arises within us, and that is the wish to repay the kindness of others. So we first see how, the relationship we have with others, then how kind they have been to us, and then seeing how it's wholly inappropriate to ignore others in their time of suffering. We generate the wish to repay the kindness that others have shown us. And that's the third cause. Then when we cultivate this ever further, this wish to repay the kindness that others have shown us, we generate the wish, may others be freed of all suffering. May others never experience suffering. May they be freed of the causes of suffering. And here we generate the mind of compassion for others. And the mind of compassion is the wish for others to be freed of suffering and the causes of suffering. And in order for this mind of compassion to be fulfilled, this desire to be fulfilled, based on this fourth cause, the mind of compassion, we reflect that for others to be freed of suffering, they need to experience only happiness. And here we reflect, may others experience only happiness and cultivate only the causes for happiness. And this way we generate love, the fifth cause. These fourth and fifth, love and compassion, in dependence on having cultivated these, we develop them ever further, where we generate the mind of universal responsibility, the altruistic attitude of universal responsibility, where we see that others to be guided so that they abandon the causes that lead to suffering and only accumulate the causes that lead to happiness. This is my responsibility. I will not leave it up to others. I take it as my responsibility to ensure that each and every being who has shown me so much kindness, I will develop myself so that I can lead them to a state that is freed from suffering, a state of lasting happiness, and thereby fulfill this love and compassion that I feel within me for them. And having generated this altruistic attitude, the sixth cause, we commit to striving to become a Buddha for the sake of others. We commit to becoming a Buddha so that we can guide others in the most skillful way, in accordance with their own individual personalities. And this is where we generate the mind of bodhicitta, where we commit to striving to become a Buddha for the sake of others. So here we generate bodhicitta in this way. And we can also include within this the trainings of equalizing and exchanging self with others, which we'll come to later. But in order to be able to fulfill or successfully accomplish these explicit causes of bodhicitta, the six cause and one effect method, as well as the equalizing, exchanging self with others, these two methods, we need to have a suitable basis, a precious human rebirth. And this precious human rebirth is presented through the accomplishment of the freedoms and opportunities. It's through having the 18 freedoms and opportunities that one has a rebirth that is called precious. So the achievement of this basis is what is the first cause for being able to generate bodhicitta, and that is what is presented first.
Geshe Thubten Rabten.
And this brings us now to the third verse, which is the first of the 37 practices. Having attained this vessel of freedoms and opportunities so difficult to find, in order to liberate myself and others from this ocean of samsara, day and night, devoid of laziness, hear, reflect and meditate. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas.
Geshe Simgyu Gune Laje Passion to Yamlin Jenamado, Sanjo Koba to Mare, Chisan Sanjo Koba Toya Guto, the Garasane, Geshe Simche, Geshe Sim Kuno, Geshe Simche, Di Ongan, Jimba Yamlin Children Suba something shut up to the Passion to Yamlin, Denijina, Sanjo Koba to Goreje, go Sanjo Koba to Gudi Rimba Shiva. Dana. Geshe Simgyu Gune and the Passion to Yamlin, Sanjo Koba to Guna, Geshe Simgyu Gune Naga Dambo, Geshe Sim Koron Gudi. Ganestilet in a Kigure Lana, China, Dambo Horan, Danyum Comba, Marche Comba, Jinjian Comba, Jinso Comba, Jamba Comba, Yuan Jamba, Jamba Comba, Ninja Comba, Tenem Hasananda Comba, said Dinigi Comchene, and Comba Latine, Jassim Kiri, Rimba Jassim Kiri, Gudishore, Chisa, Dushore, and Delia did and Dashin Yamji Comche, Jassim Rimba Kiri, Chisa, Jassim Kiri, Gudela, Gudia Menga Dungi, Guduk some Taji, Jassim Kiri, and then Dashin Yamji some Taji, Jassim Kiri, Yungur, Chisa, Jassim Yamlin Jadi, Jassim Kiri, Gudi, Dike. Yes, and Jassim Yamlin Kiri, Jassim Kene, Passion to Yamlin Jewore, the Yamlin Jabal and the Sanjo Koba to Gore, Chisa, Sanjo Koba to be Gudi, Yamlin Yimba de Dire, Orta.
Behind what is explicitly stated in this verse, there is other meaning which a practitioner should have come to understand well already. They'll understand that Buddhahood is achieved in dependence on the cultivation of a vast array of particular causes. And to achieve these causes, cultivate these causes, the practitioner has to practice well. So this has already been presented before, so I'll just recap here. In order to achieve, attain the state of Buddhahood, a bodhisattva has to practice the six perfections. So these six perfections, those of generosity, ethical conduct, patience, joyous perseverance, concentration, and wisdom, These are the 6 perfections that need to be cultivated, and for them to be perfections and not merely practices, they have to be conjoined by the motivation of bodhicitta. So therefore bodhicitta needs to be cultivated previously in order that those 6 practices are transformed into perfections. So in order to practice the 6 perfections, prior to that, bodhicitta needs to be cultivated. How is bodhicitta cultivated? In one of 2 methods, or these 2 methods can be combined. Those 2 methods are the 6 cause and 1 effect method. The 6 causes, as we've just heard, are seeing all beings as our mothers, reflecting on their kindness, cultivating the wish to repay that kindness, generating love, compassion, and developing this to the point where one develops the altruistic attitude of universal responsibility. Those are the 6 causes that lead to the 1 effect of bodhicitta. The second method is equalizing and exchanging self with others. So it's independence on the cultivation of 1 or 2 or these combined, these methods, one gives rise to bodhicitta. Having generated bodhicitta, the practices of ethics and so forth become perfections. The bodhisattva here then is practicing the 6 perfections. And it's independence on the 6 perfections that the perfected state of Buddhahood itself is achieved.
an dasen nyamje kum nyamlen chi ku gore di jeba la ten ji ku gore chi sa da ten de le yang so nyawa yi da dun ro ane tha da mi ten se ji da nga sung ge ten dan ten ju ten ni yong ro chi sa da nga sung ge ten la ne de ne ge nyamlen chi ya lo ko ko ya la shin de ne ka la ha bo res nyamlen chi tu ma res da nga zo ten ju ten ji ku gore tha da mi ko pa to gore da tha da mi ko pa to ba yin yang da yang mi le je ba yin yang ane chi ne na so mo ba ma chang ba ane ge di na di bo nya ya la ga le de gen de ne ge chi ge ten ji ge we ne ne de le ya nga zo ge de so ge jam ni je ja ju sim ji ge di ge nyam ne ji tu ma res la le ge ba na la che ring bo dang ane lo da jing la le ge ba ne de ne ge nyam ne ji tu ma res da di ma to ma sa da de ne ga yak shu de ga re la ne ja ju sim ji ge yu de ji yu du bo de nyam ne ji ge de yak shu de ga san dan ju ge lu bo chi res dan ju ge bo chi de 다 다와 제단 저 주상의 류된디 다디 약쇼지레 된 약쇼지레스 세상 된 될야 아니 냐마 장시 셈바디기나 데니게 단주기 두전 단주기 류된게 톱에 배선제 단주기 류된 톱 단주기 류된 톱에 된 될야 아니 장시 셈게기 아니 규두게기 균냠는 제제는 호르 장시 셈바 장시 셈게 장시 셈 냠는 제바레 데니 인상 당아 저기 장시 셈게 균냠는 제때 약쇼 denju gi milu do dawa je da jo ju sa yu li den di go go di den de le ya nyam ne che go go re sa che san sik dang bo de denju da ju ju chin ne ka thup di ti re se sa je sa on di da ju gi te la go go re ya sho re so nyam ne je gi
chikan dang bo
chikan dang bo de
So at this point the practitioner will already know that in order to cultivate bodhicitta within themselves, the indispensable requirement for the attainment of Buddhahood, then they have to engage in the cultivation of one or both methods of namely the 6 causes and 1 result method, or equalizing and exchanging self with others. What this first practice explicitly states, because that's all implicit, what it explicitly states is in order to be able to cultivate these practices, one has to have a suitable basis. Any old rebirth is not considered as a suitable basis. For example, beings who have fallen into the lower realms where suffering is so intense and one's intellect is very limited, there's the opportunity to practice the Buddha Dharma, to cultivate virtue, is so rare that it can be said to be impossible. One requires rather a specific basis, that of a human being or a god. So a rebirth in one of the happy migrations. But a mere rebirth in one of the happy migrations that too is insufficient. If we think of the vast variety of states or experiences within the human realm, it is clear that it is very difficult for the vast majority of human beings to be able to practice the Buddha Dharma, to be able to engage in spiritual development. So with this we can think of, from our own experience and what we've observed in the world, that for many beings, they may have achieved a human rebirth, but they do not have a suitable basis for the cultivation of bodhicitta. Likewise with those who are born as gods, those such as long-life gods, they have achieved a rebirth of great comfort, but that is not suitable for the practice of the Buddha Dharma. Rather, the best of basis is that of what is called the precious human rebirth. What makes this human rebirth precious is that it's marked by the 18 freedoms and opportunities, or the 18 freedoms and endowments. When that has been achieved, that is a suitable basis for the cultivation of bodhicitta through these two methods of equalizing and exchanging self with others, or the 6 cause and 1 effect. And this is what is meant by the first line of the first practice. Having attained this vessel of freedoms and opportunities so difficult to find.
다신 코위 출래 자지 시르스의 랑다신 차상 코와를 코르되어 스타데 바도나서 코와 코르데 지상 코와 장 랑신 상마 코위 둥어 델레 타르체 코와 계기 코와 코에 유디가를 남나 아니 코와를 타고 거를 코와를 타바나 디기 용거를 코와를 마다나 게디나 코위 둥어 녀신에 디기 용어에 말 랑신 차상 코와를 타고 그래서 지상 코와를 타야게 된다라 아니 다신 코위 출래 제위 시르스 지상 코와를 타고 우두스네 코와를 타르게 삼바께네 코와들라 타르게 된다라 아니 가수레 니바들라 인세 닌다 천도 이와며 바니스 지상하는 주기 다 냠는 제에 가르치고 왔으네 다 공롱로 마선 담보 공롱 냠는 지도 가르치고 왔으네 두 삼당 오래 저라 저상 코위 둥아 삼당 오래 저자 랑세데 랑 대와미 되바다 둥음이 되바 지바래 저자 랑 코위 코와네 랑 나신 심전 차산 대와 되바 둥음이 되바 지바래 저자 심전 차산 코와를 코르되어 저상 코와를 소소랑 코와를 타바 나신 신 심전 탐저 코위 둥아들 타고 마타는 탑민도 코위 둥아들 되게 신절라 둥아마도 코와를 타고 우선 병예중서 코와를 타도 코와를 내봐 주에 예주게 삼바도 숙침보 오래제래 코알라 타르게 내중디 제자 다시는 코르웨슬라 자지 시르스 제자 라잔 사마 코알레 타르도 타고도 셈비기 코알레 타르비 내중의 삼바디 숙침보지 게 오래스 데네 삼당고 오래제래
Having reflected on the first line then, one comes to understand the great importance of having a rebirth marked by the freedoms and opportunities. Because it's only in dependence on having such a rebirth that one can come to identify what the causes, or one can first come to understand what is meant by suffering, not just cause suffering, but the subtle experiences of suffering. And thereafter can come to strive to understand what the causes are of suffering, as well then as to see whether these causes can be eliminated, and seeing that they can, how to do so. So when one has achieved a basis such as we have, a basis where one can come to understand all of this, then there is a hope for freedom. Because the opportunity for freedom abides within us. We have this opportunity within our hands. Freedom is possible for us. Though without such a basis, freedom from suffering is not possible, because suffering itself cannot be understood thoroughly, let alone the causes and the techniques to eliminate those causes. So here, coming to understand this, we then need to reflect further, seeing that not only have we achieved this opportunity, but this opportunity we have the capacity to utilize it in the most phenomenal of ways. We can reflect not only on suffering and its causes, that these causes can be eliminated through the cultivation of the correct path, but we can and should be applying ourselves not merely, or solely rather, not solely for our own benefit, but for the benefit of all beings who are suffering, for all beings who are lost in the darkness of samsara, confused by their ignorance, bound in the pains and suffering of samsara. So this is where we're starting to reflect on the second line in this verse, in order to liberate myself and others from this ocean of suffering. So in this point, we're reflecting on the sufferings of samsara, the sufferings that pervade the lower realms as well as the so-called happier migrations. And in addition to this, because this is a text for bodhisattvas and aspirant bodhisattvas, we reflect how there's no difference between myself and others. We all long for happiness. We all long for freedom from pain and suffering. Here we reflect that the fastest method, and in fact the only method the fastest method for the accumulation of virtue and the only method for the attainment of Buddhahood is that of the Buddha Dharma. And we have that. We have access to that. And we have a specific responsibility for those who do not. And therefore, there's nothing of greater importance right now than for us to cultivate the mind of definite emergence, this commitment to emerge from the suffering realms of samsara, for not only for ourselves, but so that we can guide others in how to emerge from the suffering realms of samsara. So here we generate the mind of definite emergence, or to express it differently, we renounce the sufferings of samsara, but we do so not only for our own sake, but for the sake of all suffering beings.
Denige Rashan Sama Kore Dunga de la Targudu, Sembing Yunga Samba Comyadi, then Nimichi Comche, and Digrives and Digmares, and Daochi combats and Digmares, then Chigidelia, Yina Chen, Yawa Mebas, Yina Chendo, Yawa Mebani, Nyan Sam Gomba, Geshe Lali in Sidu, China, Denigi. Kore Dunga de Rajan Sama Kore Dunga de Matana Tabin Tarkudu, something Ajun somebody, Nina Chenda, Gidina Goyane Yandu Gomkures, Nina Chenda Yawa Mebanis, Yane and the Gomkurs. Di Gomia Gomna Shinda Shinya de la Gomba de la Dambo Hingo, Chesa Dinin Zangajuki, Lamatin, Lamits and Ya, and as Gans Gomku, Dini Gomnati, Yane Yado, 2 horses in Yangu, Nyen. Niba Sixes Tamati, yes, the Lamets and the Denigi, Ganis Gomcore, Ganis Gomnati, Dambo Yane, and Nye. Dene Sem said to Denig, Denig Lameson Sheba, Yen, Dele, Donatike, or Dambo di Conguda, Niba di Conguda, Dene Conguda, Yane, Yando, and some Tangores, Donati Yane, and some Tangores. There's some of the Yen, some Tandu, the Rimba di Pa Gomna, the Rimba di Shingures, Shingo de Dene Gomcores, Dene Gomcores, Ninse. Ninsa Yawa Meba, and do the Ninsa Yawa Gomcures, do you never check my emba, Dambo Nye, that then it's 60 Dashan Chorus, the TV Chedo, and the Garnian Goras and Delia calling Nijun Kieg Tundala, Trebache, did in the Yana, sometime, then a Gomche, and go Trebatia, Ninsa Yawa Meba, Trebache, some of the Ninsa Yawa, some Tama Nashi, Gomedia, Yanina, Sena, and Juso, and it's a Gunjingbu, then the Gomcores, Yama Gomcores, or the name Gomcores, means Nyasa Gomba. Chisa Geshe Lali said you, Geshe Chanjusemba Namgi, Nyama, Denichin, Gomba Res order. Chanjusim Magi Nelia, Chanjusim Ki, you, Tablam Chanjusemba, the Ganis Gomba Res and Lucin Gomba Res.
Already in this line, we've reflected on this remarkable opportunity that is so rare and so precious, we've reflected also on its great importance and its great responsibility that we have, this responsibility not just for ourselves, but that we have a responsibility to others. And not just some, to those that we relate to particularly, but to all beings. But in order to be able to take whatever inspiration has arisen within ourselves and to have it infuse our mind, to transform our way of thinking, it's not enough merely to hear this teaching or to engage in the meditation that follows, but rather one needs to, as we see in the third line, day and night, devoid of laziness, and the fourth line, hear, reflect, and meditate. This is what we need to do. So whatever inspiration that one takes here, one needs to see that this has come about in dependence on causes of hearing this teaching and previous teachings, reflecting as you are hearing on this teaching, reflecting as you will do in the meditation that is guided later. And this needs to be done repeatedly over a sustained period, or as the text explicitly says, day and night. And day and night then refers to repeated meditation sessions. It refers to repeatedly hearing teachings, reflecting on their meaning. And doesn't only refer to our activities now during the retreat, in the particular sessions, but also between those sessions. And refers not just to the period of this one retreat, but continuously throughout our life, in order to transform our way of thinking, to transform from a mundane, ordinary way of thinking where we are dominated by ordinary activities and worried about the concerns of this mere life, but rather to develop a broad and expansive way of thinking that is no longer overcome by emotional upheavals, but is rather naturally spacious, relaxed, calm, and peaceful. We need to repeatedly hear teachings and reflect on them, and not just in official teaching sessions or meditation sessions, but between sessions too. And in this way, we will start to transform our habitual way of thinking and develop new habit patterns. New habit patterns are perfectly in accordance with the Buddha Dharma. And this is done, as it's explicitly said in the third and fourth line, day and night, devoid of laziness. And laziness here is also understood through free of distraction, hearing, reflecting, and meditating. And this is the practice of Bodhisattvas. What that last part of the fourth line refers to is what has been presented here is exactly how every Bodhisattva present in the world trained. How all Buddhas, those who have perfected the paths of Bodhisattvas, how they trained in order to become Bodhisattvas. So ourselves who aspire to gain liberation from suffering so that we can skillfully guide others to also attain a state that's liberated and freed from suffering, we too need to train like our role models have trained.
Nyama ngarzu nashiri, janju semma gyeba, janju sem gyeyo mara ngarzu nashiri. Chizang kwanzu ge dangbo janju semma gynyele ya, janju sem gomdiyo ganis gomgore, ganis chebare la, kwanzu ge pa sam tang je. Chizang da ngarzu din chebara chen, danju ge milu din de la, ane chig janju sem gyeyo danda la, nyamnen che de din cheba yaksho diri sha sam je, kwanzu ge di tong je na, danju ge din Kwanzu Denju Din Tobe Din Dela, and Yamlen Jia Tang, Mahobana, Denju Din, Mudiju Tobe Dunda, Denju Din Tobe Dundala, and Tsujum Soya, the Jimbala Soba Yamle Jia, and Dushin and Yamlen Nang. That then Yamlen Nang, that Denju Din Top Divi Din Dela, and Semjan Tam. Jokuri Dunga, Chawu, Sempe, and Dunga Koala, Yuan Daja Koala, Tarduga, somebody, Yan. 디 마게 디게 대한 지기 디 기회 신인데 기회 신인들은 야네도 nye 아니 저게 안 된다대 삼당 아니 디 고야네도 고험제 아니 대한 인생 뒤주도 아니 고험제도 전에 그런 쪽에 당보 냠는지 되네 냠는지네 안디 제어도 내게 좀 고마 두스제 안 되네 자 가서래 잠니지 자 지가서 군제 망야 튕기도 규주다 안에 다시 냠체도 검제 안 되네 거 자주선바 차송 와레스 건도 자주선바 차와래 제가 자주선바디게도 전에 라렌 따와 건조게 냠는 두신 제발 냐마 건도 자주선바 인예라 건도 계획을 돈달라 두신 냠는 제발레스 제가 되네 인자 다 건도 자주선 냠는 게 차완다 다 자주선바디게 다 인나 세 뒤로도 샘징이 된 주야라 파신 주기 냠는데 난 거래서 Geshe Thubten Rabten Geshe Thubten Rabten Lalen dusin yam nawares and dusin shigoro da nadire.
Summarize then the meaning of this first practice of Bodhisattvas then. We should remind ourselves that these incomparable beings in the world, all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they were once ordinary just like us. They were no different from us. They too had minds that were primarily distracted to worldly concerns, distracted to meaningless activities, concerned about things of no real essence, of no real substance. But through hearing teachings from their lamas, taking this inspiration that arose in their minds, seeing that this happiness of this inspiration has come about independent on hearing teachings, and whilst hearing them, reflecting on them, they committed to reflecting ever more, hearing ever more teachings, meditating on these. And they committed to do so because they had come to understand the transformative benefit of doing so, and had given rise to this desire to become a being that is incomparable in the world, a bodhisattva. With such a commitment, they committed to hearing teachings and reflecting on them both in the teaching sessions and out of the teaching sessions, meditating on them and keeping the meaning of their meditation present in their mind, no matter what activities they were engaging in. The meditation starts with reflecting on the sufferings of samsara, and doing so first in relation to their own experiences, and reflecting on the other sufferings that they are not experiencing in this life, but how it would be if they were experiencing them, and then taking that meditation and applying it to those who are suffering in these ways right now. And they would reflect on these sufferings again and again and again, day and night, in session, between sessions, using this then as a motivation or as a basis to engage in the meditations that would lead to bodhicitta, the 6 cause and 1 effect method, and the equalizing and exchanging self with others. Using this to generate bodhicitta in themselves, and then engaging in the meditations of the actual 6 perfections. Those of generosity, ethical conduct, patience, joy, perseverance, concentration, and wisdom. Those meditations conjoined with bodhicitta, the causes for enlightenment. So this is how all the beings who are enlightened, all those who now have given rise to the paths of bodhisattvas, whether ordinary bodhisattvas or Arya bodhisattvas, as well as all those who are committed to striving to become a bodhisattva, they are training like this. So we too, as aspirants, we should train exactly like our role model. We should do so free of laziness, devoid of distraction, day and night, repeatedly over a sustained period, meditating these ways, refreshing our meditation through hearing and reflecting continuously on our teachings. And in this way, we too will give rise to the same qualities that the bodhisattvas have in their continuum right now.
Geshe Thubten di nyama dusin nyamlin jeje Geshe Thubten Geshe Thubten chaware 제가 되네 자 디기 랍자 되는 알아서를 가르쳐 왔으네 제가 알아서 인데야 아니 남보가 저기 취념는 제발라 땡 약보시고 되네 인자 된주기 땡 토비하게 껴 마오바나 된주기 땡 류딘 토비하게 된다라야 저기 규디게 싸고 그래서 그러다 제산 규디 싸야지 진비 추침이 소야다 안 된주 미류 토야 추침 소야 안에 진비 냠는 제야 되는 수바 kom야 안 존재 삼야 어두 세네다 개와치마电上 된주기 밀류 좀 토벌쇼 세 몰람자야 어두 진행하서 지어버려스 안디 규사야디 된주기 밀류 좀 토비 규디디네 싸고레스 안 다당하서 된주기 밀류 좀 톱되어레스 톱되어 된 될야 다도 톱되어 된 될야 지사다 코르웨 라잔 참아 코르웨 동안들 마탄다 탑미도 선배 코르웨 동안에 탈고도 선배게 탈두게 삼바 예중 깨고 그래스 예중서 곰 그래스 예 데니기게 된다라 맞아 예중 삼여 곰나데 셰발에 아주 최 예당 최예 디 안된다디게 하네야도 삼당 안디에네 어디니게 되나 삼단에 당이 좀 겁나디게 파 삼단에 되는 야네야도 공부를 제가 인생 류주 삼다지 야네야도 공부를 두지도 공제 아니 개와 치만한 소이나 된주기 된del이야 아니 지게 되니게 예중 공투벌 두비게 몰람자다 두시야네야도 공 안되니게 예중 공체외 제라 안되네 공된다 랑 랑사모 코월을 조고 한자 현세를 빼면서 랑이야 지게 랑기 제 심전 탐제 딩알에 니에 딩을 자오레스 캐브라 가야 마 세상 심전 차상 말에 지기야인 차상이 뭐 지과레스 니링 메보콤 니링 메보콤네 안 심전 탐제 랑기 파마제 뇨와 대한레 몽부린레 파마제 뇨와 안 파마제 뇨와의 전국 삼당고레스 데네 삼단에 안다 랑리아 심전 탐제 랑리 진침보 깨진침보 쇼레 삼제 진침보 삼당 공고레스 진침보 삼단에 안다 랑리 진침보 인자 니다도 고급 유디갑랑 예시알이야 팬바지 마준 탑도 팬바 두기 셈비 질렌 조기 셈비 삼당 데네 심전 탐제 대화의 템퍼쇼 셈비 심전의 대화의 템퍼쇼 제산 대화의 대디 대위 규디 규 파신 중에 냠는 안 진바 수준 수배 냠는 제고를 디 냠는 제디 니 배수의 제제 탑시 지긴 삼백에 삼다야다 아데네 심전 탐제 농하다 자와쇼 삼백에 안 인지 고미하다 디제 심전의 농하 영화디 규 레다 뇽몽바데 리고 제자 뇽몽바다 세디 니 탑시 제제 안에 마 매바 수긴 삼제 두신의 삼다죠 안에 곰비 공부레스 데네 곰네는 제사 심전의 농한 자와다 니지긴 데네 인상에 심전 탐지기 된다 상여고 와마토는 탑민동의 상여고 와토버쇼 삼제 어두신의 자주심 공부레스 어두신의 마한준의 데네 공부레스 대림바디 뒤숭고레 제사 데네 인자 당하나서 데링기 나서 롭찬디기다 야네 가서 디스 단예 쇼 니네야 안두신의 림바디 파삼 다시 고미야디 계신 못하고래
The advice that Bodhisattvas, such as the author of this text, is giving us is in order to become a great being, such as myself, and in order to become a being that can transform the lives of others, train just like I did. So the advice for us here is one needs to hear many teachings from one spiritual teacher, reflect on these, and meditate on these. And this is how we develop the knowledge and the skill so as to transform our way of thinking. With this understanding then, we see that we need a specific basis in order to be able to benefit others. And this basis that we have achieved in this life has come about in dependence on particular causes. So these causes we have accumulated in the past. We have the capacity to do so, and we know this because we've done this in the past because we are experiencing the result. These causes of having an ethical outlook, a generous attitude, being patient, cultivating joyous perseverance, engaging in virtue with delight, and making stainless prayers. These are the causes we accumulated in our past lives and therefore are experiencing the results of them. And we need to ensure that now, from this moment forth, we continue to accumulate these causes so that we can be sure of having the opportunity to continue our spiritual development in previous lives. But we shouldn't leave it at that. just achieving the causes for another good human rebirth. Now that we have this basis, now that we have achieved all 18 freedoms and endowments, we must use it in the most meaningful of ways. And here we reflect on the suffering realms, the suffering experiences of samsara, coming to the point where we see that there is no essence in worldly activities. It's both the worldly activities and the thoughts, that worldly thoughts that dominate, the mundane thoughts that dominate us so, they lack a true meaning, they lack value. The amount of time and energy that goes into them is not worthy of the result that we achieve. Coming to see this with great clarity, coming to realize this with great clarity, we give rise to definite emergence. This wish that is definite, that is certain about the need to apply ourselves to emerge from the suffering realms of samsara. To give rise to such a transformative way of thinking requires reflection night and day. Whatever we are doing, this is the mind that we need to have present within us. And as that arises within us, we need to then take this understanding and apply it to others. Because we are only one, but others are innumerable. And all others, no matter who they are and what relationship we have with them in this one mere life, that is not important. There are no beings who are more worthy of feeling a closer relationship with than others. And this is because over the limitless stream of rebirth, all beings without exception have shown us tremendous kindness, directly through a parent or another relationship, and indirectly in so many lives in many different ways. So here we overcome this feeling of partiality towards others through seeing that we really have a close and intimate relationship with all beings. We reflect on the kindness that beings have shown us over many lifetimes, generating the understanding that it's inappropriate that beings who have shown us such kindness, that we ignore them now, we forget them when they're in such need, that we don't have them as our primary object. So here we generate the wish to repay the kindness of others. We've developed this wish to repay the kindness of others into the thought, may all beings experience only happiness. May they cultivate only the causes for happiness and experience the results of that. What are those causes of happiness? They are the cultivation of practices, they are the cultivation of causes such as ethical conduct, generosity, patience, joyous perseverance, and so forth. We generate the aspiration, may beings cultivate these causes. I too must cultivate these causes, and therefore I commit to cultivating them. And here we generate the mind of love. May all beings cultivate these causes within their continuum, all beings without exception. May they meditate, come to receive teachings, reflect and meditate on generosity, ethical conduct, patience and joyous perseverance. Moreover, for beings who experience lasting happiness, they need to attain freedom from suffering. May all beings attain a state that is freed from suffering. May all beings abandon the cultivation of causes that lead to suffering and in fact eliminate previously accumulated causes of suffering, so that beings can be freed of pain, freed of misery. In this way we cultivate compassion for all beings. And here we come to understand that the cause of all suffering that beings experience are our afflicted minds, with the ignorance of self-grasping as the very root. And here we generate the attitude, may all beings come to realize this, that it's their afflictions and the actions under the influence of these afflictions, the control of these afflictions, that lead to continuous suffering and bondage within samsara. May all beings attain freedom from the afflicted minds. May all beings cultivate the antidote to the afflicted minds. May all beings attain freedom from suffering. In fact, it's my responsibility that all beings are guided in how to cultivate the causes of happiness and how to eliminate the causes that would otherwise lead to suffering. And in this way we develop the fifth cause, that of the altruistic attitude of universal responsibility. Having generated this within ourselves, we commit to fulfilling it, not to leaving it as a mere aspiration, but to strive to become the most skilled of guides, a Buddha. And therefore we commit to striving for Buddhahood for the sake of others and generate bodhicitta. In this way, we cultivate bodhicitta having meditated on all six perfections. And we do engage in this meditation repeatedly over a sustained period. Or as it says in our text, day and night, devoid of laziness and distraction. This is of crucial importance.
There's some tiding out of that share, there's some time committee, that Tamagong that Tima Sam Shadu, on the Kawasa, over the Kawadi, that Delatini, and this Chikisemje, Tamje, and the Dunga the Jawata, and the Tiki Yong Shore Savata, and the Mazabatu, and the Neraki, and the Neyamdi, Michasan, Shenaja Chasan Kanga. Meba Tedu Variore, and Mamboji and the Teron to Shiore, Chesan Dizucha Shigan Tiganzuki, Deniging, that the Tiring Geshe Lalema, Chesam Jata, Tiring Com Jabiki, Tisonam Della Dene, and Deniki Neam, the Lasobata, Lasobeta, Simjan Sele, Shigan Ganeshi, King Ganeshi Shiene, Shigan Chasa, Mamban, Tian Sambo, and then Jim Lujimus Topche, Chen Yamche, Kobia, Ravar Show, said the Monam Jada, and then Mazia that the Neam Dikepa, Jogo Shiche, and Zemli Mishasa, and Shidu Yonata, and the main brigade, Shandagi near Caritonen, Semje Dunga, Nazapato Mebata Gam, Bote Dunga, the Shiwa Show, Samche, and do Sinamazum Molam Jari. And do Simolam Yosora in air, the Niging, Gedi in air, draw Simjala, Digi to Yada, Dunga Segi, Tandalia, and Yamle Yapuche to a show, Samche, and do Sinamonam Jari Chagorwa.
For meditation to transform us, to have a profound and lasting impact, it's imperative that we engage in reflection, free of laziness and distraction, day and night. So therefore in the morning, when you wake up, generate bodhicitta in the way that has been explained through starting on the meditation on the sufferings of samsara in relation to oneself and then to others, giving rise to the wish, may all beings be freed from suffering and attain lasting, stable happiness, and I will bring this about. So this is the cultivation of bodhicitta, and we presented this now and how to do so. So we see in the world right now the tremendous suffering that beings are experiencing from this pandemic. So when we come to dedicate the virtue from each suffering, dedicate it so that may all beings be freed from all temporary sufferings, and may they in fact be overcome suffering in its entirety. So not just a temporary reduction of suffering, not just a temporary freedom from the coarser forms of suffering, but may they attain freedom from all forms of suffering and thereby attain lasting happiness. But as lasting happiness takes some time to achieve, may all beings be freed from temporary sufferings. May all beings achieve temporary happiness, and with this as a basis, may beings experience lasting happiness. In particular, dedicate the virtue so that all beings come to understand what is meant by suffering, the coarse and subtle levels and the causes of suffering. May beings come to understand what is meant by happiness, the coarse and subtle levels and the causes for happiness. May all beings come to understand the skillful techniques to achieve happiness and freedom from suffering. May beings apply themselves wholeheartedly. May I do so too, in order to be able to guide others skillfully in the cultivation of the causes of happiness and the elimination and avoidance of the causes of suffering. May the coarse suffering in this world, such as that being experienced from this pandemic, and the subtler forms too, may all beings be freed from this. May beings experience the temporary happiness of being freed of such sufferings, as well as develop the causes for ultimate lasting happiness. Dedicate this virtue that one has accumulated now, so that it's experienced in the continuum of all beings.
Oh, yeah,
So thank you. We'll end there then.